The thing I like to do when I come to church on Sabbath, once service begins, I like to look around to see if there's someone there I don't know. And if I don't know them, during fellowship time, I go, greet, say hi, who I am, and tell them I'm so happy that they've chosen our church to visit. What brings you here, I may ask. They may tell me, and I say, how about that? Well, again, we're glad you're here. Do you have a place to eat after church? If not, I would love to bring you home with us to get to know you better.
I sometimes will ask my wife, if I can ask a person over, and she'll say, of course, you don't have to ask me that. I say, it's just a courtesy. I just want to make sure we have enough, and she believes we always have enough. So that's what we do.
Like you do when you're Adventist and you go to a new town, you're like, all right, Google the closest Seventh-day Adventist church. And so we did, and we looked it up. It was like February, super cold. We went to this church and walked in the door. Of course, we don't know anybody from anyone, just like anytime you're a stranger in a new place. And we walk in, and the greeters greet you at the door. But and I noticed this more the longer I was there, but the greeters were like, oh, you're new. I'm gonna have you meet the Robinsons. And it's like their go-to, like, that's the people they send new people to. You have to meet the Robinsons. So yeah, we came back, we ended up moving there, and we came back 4, 5, 6 months later and moved in, and the Robinsons were there, same invitation, week after week after week. Do you have lunch plans? Can you come for lunch? Yeah.
Casey and Karen arrived at Columbia First at a critical juncture in the life of our church. We were transitioning between pastors, and I happened to be serving as first elder at the time. So what that meant was I got a chance to really see and feel a whole lot more of the pressure of being a pastor and leading out a church. And I got to appreciate that it's much more than scheduling meetings. It's much more than speaking. You really have the responsible for spiritual leadership. You have that responsibility. And I quickly recognized what a high calling and a challenging calling that was to lead and guide people in a spiritual way, especially given my lack of background in that area. So enter Casey and Karen to Columbia First, and we enjoyed having them for dinner. They seemed like very nice people, and as we talked more, I got a chance to hear more about Karen's background and her background as a pastor and her training in ministry and serving as a chaplain. And as I heard not only those qualifications, but I saw her as a person, I got more and more excited because she quickly became the most qualified person in the church for leadership. So it was my desire not only to be friends with them, but to say, Karen, I need help desperately. And she was the person to do that. She didn't elbow her way in. She didn't push her way in. She didn't demand a spot on the speaking schedule. As I recall, she said, Carlton, I'm happy to help. And that was the attitude that I really needed, her willingness and her preparation to help. So she was a godsend along with Casey at that time. So in addition to building a friendship, I saw, I don't know if I should say selfishly, but I saw, hopefully wisely, a person who was equipped for ministry.
Now I work as a children and family ministries pastor at an Adventist church in Redlands, California. I have worked as a hospital chaplain, which is what I was doing at the time. But anytime you're working in ministry and things get difficult, it could go south really quickly. And it's really easy to get discouraged and to face a challenge that feels insurmountable, and to have people that are next to you to say, no, you belong and you can do this, and this is where God needs you to be. The Robinsons were those people for us, and I don't think I would have stayed in any form of ministry without that. I think there are certain people that are just really good at doing people. And I think that there are some people who can recognize that and see that, and if they don't feel comfortable doing people really well, they find the people that can and kind of direct people to those people. So like, I am a greeter at the door. I can greet you really well, but I don't really know what to do beyond that. So let me introduce you to someone I know can do this really well. And I think the Robinsons are those kind of people. They do people so well. They have open home and open hearts, and they're your number one fan, you know, like they're your number one supporter. And I think that people see that and recognize that. And so, you know, maybe it was easier to have someone else be the person to greet the new people at church, but I like to think, you know, they recognize that the Robinsons know how to do people really well. You know, on the surface, it's super easy just to say they were really encouraging and made us feel like we belonged and took care of us as new people in a new place. On a much deeper level, there's so much more. They brought us into their family. You know, when I had to have surgery and my husband was stuck working night shifts and couldn't take care of me after surgery, like Ingrid was the one who went to the hospital, and Ingrid was the one who was there and took me home, and I introduced her to the doctor as my mom, so that there, you know, this is my mom. Talk to her. She was the one that was there, but even more so, like, when you're hurt by other people and when you're hurting, they're the people that are there. They're the people that are there to lift you up and encourage you and defend you in a way that not many people would. And I think that if they had not been there, I wouldn't be here, because I would have left. And we need people like that. We need people like that.
I truly have no idea if people are going to like this. We've gotten good responses from the people that have seen it, but it's so different. It's not fast. There's no one summarizing for you what to think. And I know we're used to that. But within the Adventist church, I see a longing for connection, and I see so much pain in people that never got it. So what I hope is that they have hope, you know, that they get a little bit of hope that somebody cares about creating it, that their local experience, if it's bad, is not representative of what everyone is up to or what they care about, and it doesn't have to be the representation of the future of this church. That being said, any attempt at change will be met with anger. That's always going to be true. Anytime that you try to make things better or adjust the system that we have, it's going to make people really uncomfortable. And so, while I expect there to be people who are uncomfortable with this and seeing Adventists who go against their understanding of what an Adventist should be, I also hope that the hope that we give people dramatically overshadows all of that. For people outside the church, I can't speak for my denomination at all. What I can say is, for me as a Seventh-day Adventist, I am committed to making this church more kind and more humane and more involved in a positive way in people's lives and communities, whether they ever want to be part of it or not. When somebody hears the name of, the title, the words Seventh-day Adventist, my hope is that they feel relieved, that they feel encouraged, that they feel safe. And so whether that's communicated and whether we're able to deliver on that is to be seen. I don't know. But I know that that's the purpose and the heart behind this and everyone who works on it.